Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online Series 9 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. Today we're trying out a super interesting Coalossal team. Now, I know we've used Coalossal a bunch on the channel in the last year and a half or so, but this one is definitely a very different take from a lot of the Coalossal teams that we featured previously. First of all, huge shoutouts to Evan Smoke for the team. He was the one who piloted it to a top finish in a recent grassroots tournament organized by Victory Road, where I think he got like top 32 in the tournament. And yeah, more importantly, as you see, there's no Dragapult, there's no Urshifu on this team, but there's a Tauros instead. Tauros is actually surprisingly fast. It's base 110 speed, so you actually outspeed a lot of the Pokemon in the metagame outside of things like Regieleki or Dragapult, for example. So Tauros is actually really interesting because it does outspeed a lot of things. It's actually an Intimidate user as well, so you can use it to weaken your opponent's physical type attackers, and you can obviously Surf to activate Coalossal's weakness policy, as well as Icy Wind to get some speed control off. So there's two ways to activate the policy on Coalossal here, either through the Surf from Tauros or the Aqua Jet from the Primarina. Gothitelle Coalossal Primarina is actually a core that we've seen a little bit of, especially towards the end of Series 7, so it still is super strong, right? You activate that policy, try to just pick up 2 knockouts, trap your opponent in with Gothitelle, and then just end the game with Perish Song with Primarina. To round out the team, there's classic AV Rillaboom, this one is knockoff, and then leftovers Leech Seed Celesteela, so kind of a throwback to VGC 2017, right? Celesteela has been really bulky. Yesterday we actually played against a Life Orb variant, which was super interesting. A lot of players have also been opting for like more Dynamax-oriented Celesteelas. This one could theoretically max, but I think with this team, Coalossal is going to max almost 100% of the time, barring any really bizarre scenarios. So, thank you to Evan Smoke for the team. Yeah, check out the rental, and check him out, linked in description below as well. And thank you to you all, as always, for watching Road to Ranked. If you enjoyed, please share your support by leaving a like in the video. I'd really appreciate it. And question of the day with us using Tauros, I want to know what your favorite normal type Pokemon is down in the comment section below. I think my answer, it's an easy go-to answer, would probably be like Snorlax, but Regigigas actually really sold me on, you know, in the last year in VGC. So Regigigas might be my new go-to answer for that. So let me know yours in the comment section below, and let's get started. All right, getting into our first game of the day. Wow, that is a cool team. There's a Buzzwole. Okay. Buzzwole now Ego. Mamoswine's going to be a really big issue for us. Celesteela is such a critical component to this team because it covers for Coalossal's weaknesses. The Rotom-H's really scary as well. If I'm my opponent, what am I leading? Thundurus Mamo? Although you could only max one of those two. You know what makes a lot of sense, actually? Mamo Clef. Oh, how do I lead against this? I also, like, Intimidate from Tauros actually just doesn't give us any value here. Other than against Buzzwole, I suppose. But it would activate a Defiant on Thundurus. That's no good news. I guess there is still a world in which we can go Tauros Coalossal. And then actually maybe max Celesteela? What's our Gothitelle set? We have Foul Play on this, which is actually really valuable, as well as Trick Room. I really don't know what the lead is here. You know what? I'm gonna try out Tauros Coalossal, Celesteela, Primarina. I don't think this is the right approach because 1, my opponent has Thundurus, and 2, we can't even intimidate the Mamoswine. But there are a bunch of scenarios where I can see this actually working out. I couldn't think of the best, like, most optimal lead matchup here, honestly. My opponent just has so many scary threats. It's kind of hard to cover for all of them. But they go with Thundurus and Clefairy, which, to be honest, is maybe one of the better case scenarios we could have run into, because this is a free Surf Vocal at turn 1. And, like, yes, I activate Defiant, but Thundurus can't actually do that much damage into Coalossal. At best, you max Knuckle, right? Yeah, okay. It's just Surf Vocalith every time here. Does Thundurus outspeed? Because, like, now you can't really max Thundurus either. We just needed them to not lead Mamoswine and we'd be good. But this is why lead matchups are such a big deal, right? It's like, this lead didn't feel super safe because if they let Thundurus Mamoswine, they could have just gone max Airstream into Earthquake turn 1 or something of the sort. But yeah, I'm just going to go for Surf for Tauros, max this thing, and go for Vocalith onto Thundurus. The only fear I have right now is Sing Clefairy. But even, like, Helping Hand max Knuckle, Helping Hand Superpower shouldn't KO Coalossal. We definitely get the Surf off, and Vocaloid this early on is fantastic for us as well. I brought Primarina in the back, right? So that gives me the Parasong option. They're not going to max Thundurus. It definitely could be Thunder Wave or Eerie Impulse now that I think about it. Or they could just be going for Superpower. That would make a lot of sense here too, because you want to conserve your max for like Mammal. You know what? I actually like targeting Clefairy in this position, because I don't think a Thundurus is ever going to max in this spot. So if I knock out Clefairy, like the problem now is if I KO Thundurus, they get a free switch in and they have Clefairy out next to it. But they go for Follow Me. Okay, nice. We'll take those. So is it support Thundurus? I suspect it might be. No, they go for Superpower. Okay. This is probably the best outcome. I think they would have had more value in actually not going for Follow Me there. They end up activating our policy. Surf will do a little bit of damage, but that's fine. It's Life Orb Thundurus as well. Okay, good to know. Okay, we don't knock out our own Coalossal, which is good. And yeah, now we've got Coalossal activated. So what did they have in the back? They had Nihilego. I don't think they have any priority like in one-shot Coalossal from the range that it's at. That's the most pivotal thing. And with this team, you really want to just pick up 2 knockouts, right? Because as soon as you do, you just bring in Primarina, click Parasong, and that's game over. So definitely a decent start to the game. We have a guaranteed knockout onto the Thundurus slot if it stays in or protects, but obviously can switch out. That being said, I don't really know what can switch out into a +2 Volcalith. And we have Giga Impact on Tauros right now too, which actually does like sizable damage, right? So if I'm my opponent, I'm bringing out Mamoswine here. Mamoswine would be really interesting. I could actually spend a turn max guarding just because it like scouts out for who's going to protect. They actually bring out Buzzwole. Okay. Very interesting. Shiny Buzzwole looks sick. We have Celesteela and Primarina in the back. This is down to neutral now, but Superpower is obviously still going to KO. Okay, we also low-key have Giga Impact into Thundurus. Man, there's so many options. I honestly, the option I like the most here is just Giga Impact into Thundurus. And Max Guard. The reason I like Max Guarding here is because it gives me an extra turn to work with anyway. Like, I already had such a good turn 1, and my Coalossal is so low HP, it's going to feint to any attack at this point, right? So, in doing this, I at least... oh, you could Airstream with Thundurus? Okay, yeah, they're going to max the Buzzwole. Which is fine. Especially because Celesteela should wall Buzzwole really hard, and if Thundurus is out of the way, Celesteela has a much easier time in this matchup. But I think I still should expect my opponent's last one to maybe be the Rotom-H. Okay, yep, Max Guard. Yep, they try to Superpower into it. Perfect. Tauros gets the Giga Impact off, which is awesome. So Tauros has actually really done so much for us in this game. And it actually KOs Thundurus. Beautiful. So now we just need to try to get up Parasong if we can. And they Max Quake into Coalossal. Yeah, that's exactly why I protected there, because, like, we're going to feint to an attack anyway, right? And at this point, like, if you're my opponent, Coalossal is applying all of the offensive pressure. So now they have to switch into their last Pokemon. We still have 2 turns of Volcalith left, which means it'll completely demolish whatever their last one is, which is Nihilego. And at this point, Celesteela should actually win the game. But pretty interesting match because so many Ultra Beasts came out. I like just Max Quaking Nihilego here, I think, because even if they protect, like, we can just Aqua Jet finish it off. Yeah, I don't really feel the need to Max Flare into Buzzwole, especially with Primarina and Celesteela in the back. And they don't protect, which is great. It might be Focus Sash, but I haven't seen Focus Sash on Nihilego in so long. Yeah, it's going to be Power Meteor Beam, I think. Nice. So, this game was risky. I'm actually very surprised they didn't prioritize Mamoswine a little bit more. Like, it didn't even end up coming out. Mamo and Rotom-H were probably the 2 Pokemon I was most worried about, but in the end, they didn't come out, which was obviously great for us. So, they're going to Max Quake now, but it is basically too late at this point, because we can bring in Celesteela. And, okay, let's say the turn I Max Guarded, even if they doubled up onto Tauros, since we outspeed the Buzzwole, we still get the knockout onto Thundurus if they don't protect there, right? So it's like, I trade Tauros, and in fact, a knockout there would be good for us because you give me a free switch in, right? So then it'd be a 3v2, and then I just bring in Primarina and probably just click Parasong immediately. So, yeah. Okay, now we can bring in Primarina, and just click Parasong. Icy Wind Parasong here works. They only have 1 more turn of max anyway, and there's no point in trying to go for damage right now, and like Parasong just guarantees the win. So yeah. We could Moonblast. You know, Celesteela in the back should actually just win against Buzzwole even without Parasong. But I don't want to bring out Celesteela, have it like... even if it gets crit, it probably doesn't get KO, to be honest. So I think we could have played this endgame in multiple different ways. But Parasong always works here since we're slower and we have Celesteela in the back. Yep, so they're going to Max Wake Prim. And it's not enough for a KO, yeah. I was wondering if they had like Poison Jab for Max Ooze. Buzzwole does hit really hard, but in the end it's not enough damage. So now it's a guaranteed win, right? Double Protect, switch Primarina out, Protect again. If they had gotten that knockout, it's still fine, right? Because we still have Celesteela in the back. And like Buzzwole just can't do enough damage to Celesteela, especially because we're lefties with Leech Seed. And if we just connect a single Leech Seed, then Celesteela can stall things out. So I think the main upside in this game was that Mamoswine didn't come out. Like, I was very hesitant about my lead, but fortunately, by them leading Thundurus plus Clefairy, which makes a lot of sense, right? Thundurus Clef actually does so well into anything else I might consider leading. For example, like Celesteela. And so in the end, like Tauros Coalossal was the right call, but it's risky because it wasn't like the safest option per se, right? So yeah, just Giga Impact Moonblast here, doesn't really matter. Tauros honestly put in a lot of work though. Giga Impact doing as much damage as it did into the Thundurus. Surf to just activate that weakness policy immediately. Those were all good things for us. They are Drain Punch actually. Okay, I was wondering what the fighting type attack was, so. Yeah. Like as soon as Parasong goes up, it's a guaranteed win anyway, especially since we have Celesteela in the back. It's not like you can break through the Protect, but game will go on for a little bit longer now. Yeah, Buzzwole takes that decently well with those boosts. 2 turns of Perish left. You just switch Primarina out here into Celesteela. It doesn't matter. Even if you crit Drain Punch onto Celesteela, we just protect Primarina on the last turn. Like, this is why Parasong can be such a strong move. You just have to utilize it correctly. But if you gain a huge lead, like we did in this game, it basically wrapped the game up as soon as possible, right? That's also why I just wanted to bring it out first. They actually end up high horsepowering into the Primarina slot, nice. But now Parasong just ends the game. Or we can end the game with a Giga Impact from Tauros and go for a 3rd Giga Impact. If that connects, I think it actually KOs, so let's go for that. And Tauros actually put in so much work in this game, so that was awesome. Nice, that actually picks up the knockout, so Tauros actually ends up picking up 50% of the KOs from this game. So that was pretty sweet. Ultimately, this was a scarier one because I didn't feel like I had a super safe lead matchup, but because my opponent ended up not leading Mamoswine, that actually put us in a really advantageous position. Now Ego from my opponent as their last one was actually like the best Pokemon for us to see as well. Either Mamo or Rotom-H could have been a little bit scarier, but with the Now Ego and them just giving up the KO, you know, it was basically a one game that turn. And even if they protected Now Ego there, I think Max Quake into an Aqua Jet from Primarina is probably still enough. Actually, maybe not. I mean, Aqua Jet does so little damage. Like, that's really only going to do, like, what, 5-10%-ish? Maybe a little bit more, but yeah. Either way, that was definitely a really fun start with this team. So let's look for our next match here. All right, second game of the day. What do we got? Raichu stuff. So this is pretty scary, right? Because there's a potential weakness policy on either Moltres or Lapras, but I don't really know where it is. If I had to guess, it's Moltres and likely Lapras, but it totally could be a Life Orb on one of those as well. Now, Coalossal is okay here, but obviously has a bunch of things to worry about in the Lapras and the Metagross. Rillaboom will probably want to come out here just for Lapras. Actually, if I lead Tauros Cole, I mean, does Tauros actually make that much sense here? It does have Giga Impact, and that alone is actually pretty good damage. It just feels like Primarina Coalossal might be better here, but I could definitely see my opponent going Raichu plus Lapras, right? I want to go Rillaboom, Gothitelle, Coalossal, Primarina. I feel like Tauros doesn't have that much value in this game. One, because they have a Fake Out user. Two, Intimidate gives us very little value, right? I think like Tauros typically wants to come out in games in which like you either outspeed your opponent or you have physical, or they have physical attackers. But like Intimidate would only work against Urshifu here. Urshifu's going to crit through anyway. And like Giga Impact doesn't do that much across the board too. It's actually going to be Raichu and Urshifu. Okay. I don't mind this. Well, actually, it depends on which Urshifu it is, but I feel like if you're leading Urshifu here, it's Water Urshifu. I could be wrong on that. Either way, this is where Gothitelle is really interesting because we have the Trap in immediately. And I have double Fake Out right now, which is actually very good for us too. Yeah, it is Water Urshifu. Oh, that is actually so good for us then. Because I can just Fake Out Urshifu into Grassy Glide. And I'm actually going to double Fake Out it right now just because I expect Raichu to Fake Out one of my Pokemon. And so I'm just hoping to break a Focus Sash here. Yeah, they target Rillaboom. Nice. Although, I guess with Grassy Terrain, it probably just heals back. Oh, it looks... The crit actually means, even if you're Focus Sash, I'll get the KO. Which is hilarious. So now it's like we could read into Urshifu protecting, right? It feels fairly obvious. I don't mind still gliding it. Oh, actually, Raichu could Volt Switch here. And Urshifu's not really that scary, right? Especially because we have Citrus. So I'm honestly thinking here we just glide into Raichu and Foul Play into it. If Urshifu doesn't protect, yeah, you get a Surging Strikes off. Okay, it doesn't protect, so we could have gotten a knockout there, but that's fine. Oh, they have U-turn. Okay, well, that's one way to get out of things. That's why they didn't protect, though. I think that implies that they're choiced. Either Scarfed or Banded. I think Scarf. I think Banded would have done more with U-turn there. So that's actually really good information. They bring out Metagross. That's also fine. Because right now, they haven't really brought out, like, Lapras, right? And they're actually going to Volt Switch. Okay, so good pivoting here. But now you either bring in the Urshifu back out, to which then a Glide just KOs you. Like, the Trap is so valuable for us here. So... I don't know, like, I didn't want to glide into Urshifu, have it heal back to full with Grassy Terrain, and then get a free switch in. And they didn't bring Lapras. Okay, that's really good information to know. That's really good to know. Okay, we Foul Play here. I can knock off Dusclops this next turn. I don't know if I'm faster than Metagross. That's, like, my only fear. I have Coalossal and Primarina in the back. I mean, I think knockoff onto Dusclops is absolutely worth it right now, and I kind of want to Foul Play it as well. Metagross maxes here for sure. If I glided into Urshifu, we would have just gotten a knockout. The dynamic of this is a little bit awkward right now because, like, I don't want a Trick Room because their Dusclops under Trick Room is going to be annoying, but at the same time, Trick Room would help us get a free switch into Cole. Activating Metagross's weakness policy just to Foul Play it is also like an interesting thought. Oh, it's Shadow Sneak. I didn't see that coming and I should have. That's actually a really big problem. That's an awesome play. Okay, so we get knockoff. But the thing is, I revealed Foul Play, so you're probably a little bit nervous about Gothitelle here, right? Yeah, they're going to target Gothitelle down. It's enough for a KO. That's not good. Oh, Shadow Sneak. Okay. Like, I didn't think I was going to lose Gothitelle this turn. Which is part of the problem. They have a defense boost, which also doesn't bode well for us. Especially because we know they have Urshifu in the back. We didn't knock that out. The U-turn was what really caught me off guard as well, because I thought they would definitely be forced to stay in with Urshifu, but they got a double pivot out, which was really, really nicely done. I wish I had U-turn here, because if I had U-turn, what I could do is Max Guard Coalossal, U-turn to guarantee Primarina in, then self Aqua Jet. But I don't. This next turn is really hard, because I have to predict who Metagross targets. I could Max Guard Coalossal, and if they KO Rillaboom, get the free switch in into Primarina. I guess I could just go into Primarina right now, right? But then if you're my opponent, what you should do is double up onto Primarina. So what I could do is switch Rillaboom out into Coalossal right now. But it's so risky. It is so risky. I have to call this turn correctly, I think. I don't know. I don't know which read to make. We're playing from behind, so we might need to make a risky play here anyway. I think I'm going to switch Rillaboom out into Coal and just Aqua Jet immediately. It's really high risk, right? Like, Metagross targeting Rillaboom here feels likely, but they accelerated this game too quickly, so I kind of have to make a big play. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a question of, like, the switch is, like, relatively telegraphed, right? But if they end up KOing Primarina, I get the free switching back into Rillaboom, we're in business. So, yeah. Like, it's like, it feels crazy, because it's like, if Cole just goes down here, we basically insta-lose. I went for Rockfall. That feels like they're targeting... Ah, they made the right call. Nicely played. Nicely played. Yeah, it was the double switching here that was really, really good. I just didn't expect U-turn on... And that turn was frustrating, because if I just protected Primarina, given up Rillaboom, I would have gotten a free switch into Coalossal, then I can just Aqua Jet Max Flare. So, we had to, like, call the target correctly there. Now, it does feel more likely that you target the Rillaboom switch out, just because it covers for the Coalossal switch in. I would have gotten Max Flare up. Yeah, I mean, we absolutely could have won if that turn went correctly, but I basically went... Okay, I guess theoretically it's not over. We could still max the Rillaboom. Especially if they don't have... Now you just Steel Spike Primarina, right? I really don't think there's much of an out here, to be honest. Especially with them at +1 defense, so yeah. I think we're just gonna give up this one. I mean, even if I glided Urshifu there, like, the main thing is that they actually got Dusclops and Metagross out next to each other in the perfect position. And my only pressure against Metagross is a +2 Coalossal that outspeeds it, right? So Metagross isn't exactly the easiest Pokemon to go up against, and my opponent pivoted really, really well. Even though the lead looked really good for us, they made some really nice switches via Volt Switch and U-turn. And yeah, if I had to guess, it was Scarf Urshifu with U-turn. The U-turn was what caught me off guard, because I was like, oh, Gothitelle's going to trap you in. You know, even if Raichu switches out, you can only bring in one Pokemon. I'm not that scared of a Metagross without its weakness policy activated. But the thing was my opponent getting Dusclops and Metagross out next to each other. So, of course, in this game, you know, you could point to me saying, oh, of course, like, you could have just protected the Primarina, given up the Rillaboom, and won the game that way. But we had to call that turn correctly, basically. And if I had just protected Rillaboom, and, or sorry, if I had protected Primarina and they just Steel Spike into Primarina, then the next turn you can just pick up a double KO, right? And I lose the game that way too. So that's why I went all in on that turn. Like you have, when you're playing from behind, you have to make a big play one way or another. And in that one, I figured, hey, if we actually get the max move up and they target Primarina, we not win the game, but we're actually in a pretty good spot, because then we can just flare the Metagross the subsequent turn. And then that sets up the Sun, and then Coalossal should clean up with Rillaboom support next to it. So even though we got, you know, completely swept, like, that is a play that gets us into it. My opponent did, however, smartly enough cover for it. So in hindsight, yeah, of course we could have just protected Primarina and given up Rillaboom, but we had to make one of those two plays, and unfortunately the one I made got punished in the end. So yeah, but well played by my opponent. You can see the value of Volt Switch and U-turn. Like, the whole point of Gothitelle is to trap your opponent in, but my opponent had two Pokemon that could pivot out, and that made things a lot trickier, because if they didn't have switch out moves with those, we just pick up a double KO basically and go up 4-2. Primarina comes in, Trick Rooms, and that's basically it. So yeah. That was not an easy matchup for Coalossal either, right? They had Metagross and Lapras, and so it wasn't going to be easy to just get the Steam Engine combo off. And yeah, if I actually led Coalossal there, their Urshifu would have countered me super hard as well. So they had like 3 really good counters into Coalossal, unfortunately. And with us basically putting all our eggs in the Coalossal basket, you had to play, like, position really, really well for it. And the Shadow Sneak was really cool. I haven't seen that since, like, Shadow Sneak plus Weakness Policy Dragapult. So yeah. All right, third matchup of the day. What do we got? This reminds me of, like, one of the top performing teams in the end of the last ranked season. Not the last ranked season, like the first month or second month of Series 7. Zine's team. I don't think it's the exact composition, but I don't remember. So we have Tauros. They have Fake Out. I don't know the Urshifu either, which Urshifu it is. And it totally, like, Zine's Grimmsnarl was Trick, which scares me a fair amount. I don't know, I kind of like Gothitelle trapping again here. I think it gives us more value, especially because it's not like they'll have, like, double switches again here. just don't know who they lead with. Like, I'm just really hesitant for Tauros Coalossal because they have Grimmsnarl, right? And they can just trick. I kind of want to go with Rillaboom, Celesteela, Coalossal, and Primarina. Yeah, like, if my opponent didn't have Grimmsnarl, I'd actually just straight up lead Tauros, but Grimmsnarl alone means that, like, because with Tauros, the whole point of Tauros is to activate Coalossal, right? But if Coalossal gets shut down, that's really bad for us. So, that's the hard thing about using Coalossal. You have to identify when you can just safely lead it and when you're at too much risk to actually safely lead it. And I go with Grimmsnarl and Urshifu, okay. So, I don't mind this too much. Celesteela is out in a really good spot. Rillaboom is also not in bad shape. It's also really interesting to see how many, how players are moving towards Water Urshifu. More so than Dark. Okay, so we have Fake Out here. Yeah, it's another Water Urshifu, wow. Man, one day I try to use Coalossal. Tough matchups. Okay, in this position, I honestly don't mind just going for Fake Out on a Grimmsnarl and Flash Cannon, because then we just KO with a Grassy Glide the next turn. Even if Urshifu stays in and goes for Surging Strikes or Close Combat, it's not that much damage. I feel like a switch out into Zapdos here would make a lot of sense, but since Grimmsnarl just rarely carries Protect, I think we can get a lot of value here. Yeah, and there's Zapdos. Like, this is the other reason why I couldn't lead Coalossal, right? Ooh, they actually double switch. That's a very nice switch into Heatran. Oh, well done. Well done. Didn't think they double switched there. It's just like these Water Urshifus also make it so much harder for me because now they get Zapdos in so safely. Presumably that's not run. Presumably Zapdos maxes here, right? You could max Airstream into Rillaboom. Heat Wave into Celesteela. Max Airstream Heat Wave here makes a lot of sense, so what I want to do is switch out Celesteela into Primarina and then to position myself for a Self Aqua Jet. And high horsepower here into Heatran. Yeah. But it's risky because they could theoretically just go for like Max Lightning onto the Celesteela slot to cover for the Primarina switch in. I needed to read into my opponent's switches better turn 1, I guess. Like we had the lead matchup in both of these games, but then like turn 1, then my opponent just pivoted out so well, right? And since Coalossal is applying all of the offensive pressure when we use this team, we can't really allow for that. If it is Airstream Heat Wave this turn though, we're actually not in bad shape at all, I think. Although I guess losing Rillaboom kind of stinks given how good it is against... Okay, they do go for Airstream though, so that's good. Okay. Still one-shots even with the Salva, so I think that implies Life Orb Zapdos here. It's just Aqua Jet from Urshifu alone still does so much damage into us. Life Orb sub? No, they just Heat Wave. Okay, perfect. That's what I was going for here. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess like I could have, in this game, I could have led Tauros. No, I think Tauros Coalossal just is so risky into, because then with Grimmsnarl, if you have Fake Out, you could just Fake Out Surging Strikes turn 1, right? And then what do we even do from there? So I can bring out Cole now. The play I want to make here is Self Aqua Jet into Max Quake. Yeah, I think I like that. I also ideally want to get up the Sun at some point, so... well, I don't know. I mean, the thing is, Zapdos, like, this is the classic, hey, my opponent's Dynamax before me, but now we get Coalossal in a good spot. So, yeah. Heatran's probably going to be Shookberry, though, unfortunately. I could have Grassy Glided for, like, the smallest amount of chip damage last turn. Although I think if I target a Heatran, it just heals back anyway with Terrain. So I could have targeted Zapdos, but meh. They actually switch out, okay. In a Grimmsnarl. That makes sense. I suspect it is still Trick, too. Which is such a problem for us if it is actually Trick Lagging Tail. Yeah, it's not been, like, you can see how the metagames evolve, though, right? Like, these last two teams weren't, it was not easy to use Coalossal, and our opponents had very good answers into Coalossal. I'm assuming it's Trick Grimmsnarl here. They do max guard, though, so that's a good start. If I went Vocalith onto Heatran, I would have just KO'd, right? Or, yeah, I didn't know Vocalith was going to KO. I wanted the special defense boost, but I think Vocalith onto Heatran was better because it covered for the switch out. Although I guess then they could have switched into Urshifu, so it's not like a guaranteed covered move. Okay, we'll get Max Quake off. So here's the thing, right? You protected. So even if you are trick lagging tail, I can at least get the knockout onto your Zapdos. And if I KO the Zapdos, then Primarina, like, we can just max, Vocalith Moonblast this turn, right? And then we know you have Heatran and Urshifu in the back. Those are very good into Primarina. Unless it's like Thunder Wave. Or, but yeah, they didn't bring their Rillaboom, so Primarina is actually looking really good. So here, what I want to do is just Vocalith Zapdos, Moonblast Grim. We also could have maybe just protected. Oh, interesting. That is really smart. That is really, 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 really smart. Although they switch into Heatran, so like they take so much damage from this. I think Urshifu could have worked out better for them. Yep, it was Trick this whole time. That's what I thought. But the thing is if we pick up a double KO, we have a special defense boost on the... Yeah, that knocks out Heatran. We have a special defense boost on the Primarina, so we should survive a Thunderbolt. Which means I can Perish Song. I also could have just Max Guard Moonblasted there. And I don't know, it feels like we fall behind too much. Now the thing, though, is that my opponent can just bring in Urshifu and Zapdos and just Surging Strikes Cole. I guess that maybe Surging Strikes doesn't KO us? That's my other question. I don't know if it does. But, like, you could definitely make an argument to switch Coalossal out right now and click Perish Song with Primarina. Because we should... actually, I'm not confident in surviving Life Orb Thunderbolt right now. That's my other fear. The Surging Strikes one-shot Coalossal? You would think so? I mean, would Life Orb T-Bolt really one-shot Primarina with the special defense boost? I'd be kind of surprised. What if I just stayed in and Vocalith, they KO, we get Perish Song up, then we have Celesteela in the back. We just take too much damage, though. I think I'm going to switch and Perish Song here. Wait, low-key, I also could have just Moonblasted Urshifu, because then I can just Aqua Jet you the next turn. Wait, no, it's definitely Moonblast into Urshifu, right? I don't even need to Aqua Jet, because the Vocalith damage is still up. That is a really good play. Oh, wait, it's fine if we survive, though, because I still get Perish Song off. Oh, never mind. Okay, we survived with plenty HP. Nice. Okay, that's why Moonblast wasn't the play, actually. Good. Okay, so now we get Perish Song up. Now, we have to worry about Urshifu being able to bypass Protect, but I think that's fine. It doesn't matter. Okay, nice. Yeah, this is why we have Perish Song Primarina. Sick. That was a good detect. Yeah, because if I actually Moonblasted there, we could have thrown the game away. But I think now we have enough time to work with, right? We just double Protect, switch out Primarina, Protect again, and yes, you can Surging... Unless... I mean, Urshifu detected. It's not choiced, right? And this implies Surging Strikes Aqua Jet close combat. You're not going to fit Poison Jab onto a moveset like that. So, I think we just double Protect here. Double Protect, switch Primarina out, Protect. Yeah. This was a scary game, though, right? Like, you could see why I couldn't lead Tauros. Like, Tauros is so cool, but it can't come out in every game. That's why it's really nice to have two ways to activate that weakness policy. So yeah, there's T-Bolt into Celesteela. Surging Strikes here into Primarina. Oh no, they actually target Celesteela. Okay. That ensures us the win. I was thinking if they targeted Primarina, things could have gotten a little dicier there, just because you do a fair amount of damage through the Protect. But now there's 2 turns of Perish Song left, right? So we always just switch Primarina out. Unless this whole time, like, the Urshifu actually has, like, Poison Jab. That would be wild. We just switch Primarina out because that's our best resistance into Surging Strikes. We can also try to go for a double protect here with Celesteela if we get it. That should ensure us the victory, even if there's Poison Jab on Urshifu. I don't think Urshifu will have Poison Jab here, but we'll see. Yeah, I mean, that last game is just so frustrating because, like, we got completely swept, right? But it all came down to that one turn, and if we had called that turn correctly, like, Coalossal's comeback potential is enormous. But yeah, my opponent had some really nice positioning in that game. Okay, Celesteela does not get the double. Still okay. People comes out. KO Celesteela. And with us having the berry on Primarina, like, yeah, now my only fear is if you actually had Poison Jab, but if you had it, you would have just gone for it in this position, right? The thing here is, like, normally in a late game Parasong scenario, like, you could just double protect, right? Hilarious enough, Steam Engine activates. I mean, it would be so wild if they dropped, like, one of Aqua Jet or Close Combat for Poison Jab. Just, it's so unlikely. You're definitely Sash Urshifu in a set like that. I also think we could have maybe just won the game if I just Moonblasted and Vocalith, right? Because I kind of forgot that we had Vocalith adding up. And Moonblast probably still brings Urshifu down to, like, 1/6 of its health, right? So let's just double confirm. It's the last turn of Parasong now. Zapdos can't break through the Protect. Urshifu can, but Urshifu shouldn't be able to KO us through Protect. So, Primarina protects now. T-Bolt comes out. Just no Poison Jab here. We're good. Alright, they close combat. Nice. I came dangerously close. Critical hit close combat would have done the job there. Good recognition to go for close combat too over Surging Strikes. Because if they went for Surging Strikes, there's no way they'd win. Because there's no, like, you already get the crits, right? That's not a win con. But now Parasong comes out and picks up the double KO. So today's episode was pretty fun. I feel like we featured a whole lot of variety, right? Like, we used Tauros to its maximum potential in Game 1. In Game 2, we went with a different lead. Didn't work out super... Like, you know, when you lead Gothitelle, the goal is to trap your opponent in, but we ran into Volt Switch and U-turn, so that was, like, the nightmare scenario. Even if I Grassy Glided in Game 2 onto the Urshifu, the turn they switched out, and foul played, like, they still would have gotten in Metagross, and the thing was that they just got their weakness policy user in before I did and then set it up before I did, and I didn't have a safe way to get Coalossal up, right? And Metagross at +2 just demolishes Coalossal. So that game was really tough because of the positioning, even though our lead matchup worked out great because they had Volt Switch and U-turn and they were able to double pivot out and put on pressure with their weakness policy user. It was really bad. And like, Coalossal can win in that trade-off, but you need to be faster and you need to have the weakness policy activated and max flare, right? But it was really hard to guarantee that because if I just led Primarina Coalossal or the Tauros plus Coalossal in Game 2, like, my opponent had Urshifu, right? So, and they led Raichu, so they could have just gone Fake Out into whatever and then Surging Strikes into Coalossal. That's why I couldn't go with that. So, that game basically came down to me activating Coalossal the right way, and I went, you know, all in on that play. Didn't work out. I don't regret it, though, quite frankly, because I think a lot of players would target Primarina in that situation. And so, like, if you don't call that turn correctly, we're actually instantly back into it, because Coalossal's comeback potential, like I mentioned, is really, really incredible. But, yeah, definitely a fun set of games here. And I figured why not play a fourth game, so let's look for last match of the day. What do we got here? Hoping to get more Tauros action, because we've only brought it in 1 in 3 games so far. It's not great here, admittedly. I mean, just so many Metagrosses. Metagross is obviously so super common in the format, so it shouldn't be anything surprising. This is probably a policy Metagross as well. If you're my opponent, what do you lead to counter Coalossal? I mean, Tauros, it's actually not that bad. Has Icy Wind. Wait, Tauros would be hilarious if, like, we just go Tauros Coalossal and they go Entei Metagross. If I'm my opponent, I think I'm leading Whimsicott plus Metagross. But then you don't activate your weakness policy. I'm going to bring Tauros out in this last one, I think. So Tauros, Coalossal. I don't like Gothitelle here, especially with Hydreigon. Rillaboom doesn't feel great either, so it's probably Celesteela and Primarina. I mean, this one, like, the weakness policy setup is a little bit more obvious. I think, like, what caught me off guard in Game 2 as well was that I just wasn't expecting Shadow Sneak. It's just been a long time since I've seen Shadow Sneak Dusclops, right? Like, Bulldoze used to be, like, or is, like, the most common attack on Dusclops that typically activate those policies. So, yeah. Alright, they go Whimsicott Hydreigon. But it's probably Max Quake on Hydreigon, right? Because what I want to do here is bait out Hydreigon to max, Icy Wind, break Whimsicott's Sash, get some damage on a Hydreigon, switch out into Celesteela, expecting Max Quake. It's just like always in these scenarios, your opponents are often going to expect you to switch, so I could just make the play and straight up attack with Coalossal immediately. I don't think I regret switching too much here, though, unless they just straight up attack with Whims, like they, I don't know, Dazzling Gleam or Moonblast and Dark Pulse into Tauros. Okay, Hydreigon maxes. Honestly, that's a good start to the game, I would say. I just don't know the speed interactions between, like, +6 Coalossal Tailwind and then them being Icy Winded. So I'm really, really hoping here to see a Max Quake into a Coalossal slot. That's the value of Celesteela. But they, you know, obviously could have just gone for, like, Max Darkness. Switcheroo here, turn 1 could be a possibility as well. They just go for Tailwind. Okay, that's fine. That's what we expected. This is what I mean. It's always so frustrating. Yeah, like, because we could have just stayed in. They do Max Quake to Tauros. So they do have Max Quake. It's good to confirm that. Okay, so we're playing towards the late game Dynamax at this point, which is fine. I don't mind that too much. They're Life Orb as well. Yep. Like, get an Icy Wind off. I don't know, though. Even if I serve Volcalit there, Hydreigon survives, right? And then you can just Max Quake us next turn, so I still feel like it's correct to switch out. But, like, this is why it's, like, you can't just easily lead Tauros plus... I mean, this is how you counter Coalossal, right? If you don't pressure it with the one-hit KO on turn 1, your opponent leads it, you'll probably just lose the game. So, Max Darkness into Celesteela now. Helping Hand could come out, which would be very scary. I think I'll just Icy Wind and Protect here, and then bring in Primarina, and then Protect Primarina. Because if we could, like, once again, Coalossal's late game comeback potential is ridiculously good. Okay, they're going to Gleam. Probably Darkness this next turn. I could also low-key max Primarina to max Starfall into Hydreigon. Yeah, there's Darkness. What are they going to have in the back? That's the other question we have to ask ourselves. That did 30 damage total, but now we have a special defense drop, so another one should KO, I think. I think the easiest play to make this next turn is actually... It's not going to be Switcheroo Whimsicott, right? Otherwise you would have gone for it. Is go into Cole, Max Guard Coalossal, switch out Celesteela into Primarina. Yeah, I like that a lot, actually. I don't think your Hydra... Even if you, like, Dazzle, Max Quake, Celesteela, Primarina should survive. And Coalossal is so good against my opponent's team in the end game. So, Max Guard and switch. Because the thing is, Whimsicott basically is useless for my opponent past Tailwind, right? Like I said, the only thing I don't know... I feel like Coalossal should outspeed at +6 against Hydreigon this next turn, even with Tailwind being up, so it means I can't get an Earth Power off. Max Quake just ensures we don't take that much damage. Because, like, the main thing with Coalossal is you want to avoid the 4x super effective attacks, right? And in this game, it's coming from Hydreigon. So, like, I think it's just Aqua Jet, Volcalit next turn into Hydreigon. The thing is, Hydreigon could easily protect that, but I think it's still worth it for us. Once again, with Primarina, if we go up 3-2, we just Perish Song. They Helping Hand, that's fine. So, Helping Hand, Dazzling Gleam, Trick Room. Nicely played. I mean, they've made really good target selection here. But that's why Primarina was always a safe switch in, right? Like, this play always works out for us because, like, even in the worst case, which is exactly what my opponent did, we still come out fine. Now, if I just attacked with Coalossal there, yeah, it could have looked really good for us, but we would also just throw the game if they actually, you know, Max Quaked us there. So, it wasn't worth it. Okay. Now I can finally Aqua Jet. It's their last turn of Tailwind. You would think Hydreigon protects here, but I'm still gonna Volcalith. Yeah. Because if they don't protect and they just Earth Power us with the special defense drop, like let's say they like Helping Hand Earth Power, and we target Whimsicott, it's really bad for us. And I don't mind Whimsicott being out on the field because once again, it doesn't provide that much value for my opponent right now. I guess the argument you could make is to KO Whimsicott so that I can't get another Tailwind up in this game. But I don't mind another Tailwind because, once again, I'm just looking for 2 KOs. I don't need 4 KOs, right? 2 KOs into Parasong wins us the game. We still have our Berry, which is good. And we're going to maximize our turns of Volcalith, which is also good. Okay, they switch Hydreigon out into Ferrothorn. Okay, that's a really good switch. Still okay with that. Not that much of an issue. Mainly because we have Coalossal activated just in general. You probably Tailwind now. I have to worry about Body Press Ferrothorn, I think. Oh no. Is it Trick Room Whimsicott here? Or are they just asking me? Trick Room would be wild right now. I honestly kind of expect it. No, okay, they just Gleam. Okay, good. Okay, I mean, the main thing here is that we have Coalossal activated, right? We can switch Primarina out very easily this next turn. Flare into Ferrothorn's a KO, but Ferrothorn can obviously pivot it back out into like Hydreigon. Tailwind peters out. I do like switching Primarina out into Celesteela here. Because Celesteela also looks pretty good in this endgame, right? If you didn't bring Entei, it's actually very solid. I just want to I want to Flare Ferrothorn here. Does Max Play KO from the range it's at? I'm not confident in it. Volcalith onto Whimsicott's probably the safest play here. I don't know. I'm actually down to Max Play Ferrothorn and then switch Primarina out into Celesteela. Because even a single special defense boost is really valuable for us. I don't know if we outspeed Hydreigon. That's my concern. But if I give Celesteela a special defense boost, it also matches up better against Hydreigon. Although this could switch out into Hydreigon right now. Oh, they go into Entei though. That's perfect for us. That should win us the game, actually. Nice. I wasn't even trying to read into an Entei switch. I just didn't want... I wanted a special defense boost. Like, that's the main reason I quaked. And I didn't want to target Whimsicott because Whimsicott staying out on the field benefits us so much. That looks like AV Entei, but it should faint from Volcalith now. More importantly, I have a special defense on both of these Pokemon now as well. And multiple turns of Volcalith left as well. 2 turns to be exact. So, like, this is the thing, right? If I had flared into... If I just flared there in general, then you have Entei out in Sun in the endgame, and that's really scary. But... they make our lives a little easier by sacrificing the Entei. So, yeah. Hydreigon switching there would have been really sick. So, I don't know if I actually really like my play there because Hydreigon switching would have not been a disaster. It actually would have been really bad, though. So, now they bring Hydreigon back out, but I have a special defense boost. We know Whimsicott is Helping Hand. We've seen Tailwind, Dazzling Gleam, Helping Hand. My max is over now. +6, +6, +2, +1 Spit Def, 3 turns of Tailwind, 2 turns of Volcalith. I think here I'm content to just double protect. Like, the line I'm thinking... Okay, they go for Helping Hand, that's obvious. Yeah, I just don't know if Coalossal outspeeds Hydreigon. I don't think it does. If Hydreigon's max speed, it shouldn't. Did they go for Dark Pulse or Earth Power? Okay, they just went for Earth Power here. Because Coalossal will win against Ferrothorn and Whimsicott, right? So the play I want to make is actually switch Coalossal out into Primarina right now. We have a special defense boost, so we should definitely survive any attack from Hydreigon. I just don't think Flash Cannon KOs into Leech Rock, so I'd rather Leech Seed here. Just a little risky because they could Dark Pulse us, try to go for a flinch, but if we connect on Leech Seed, I think we're in a fantastic position. So I'm going to switch despite getting the boost out because I'm not confident in us outspeeding under Tailwind against their Hydreigon under Tailwind. What a taunt though, wow, that was such a good play. Earth Power KO us here? Oh no, it doesn't come close. Wow, Primarina is so bulky. Okay, that was a really good taunt, but fortunately for us, like, we don't faint there, and that's the main thing. So we know Whimsicott's full moveset at this point, too. It's just coming down to the wire, but I don't mind our position too much. I think here I'm content to just Moonblast and Flash Cannon Hydreigon. Whimsicott could switch out, right, into Coalossal, but if Hydreigon faints, all we need is Coalossal to come back in and click Heat Wave. So yeah. What else? I think the worst play here that could happen is oh, you could Dark Pulse crit. Helping Hand Dark Pulse crit into Hydreigon. No, that doesn't matter. Like, the reason I'm aggressively targeting Hydreigon right now is because I don't care about what Whimsicott or Ferrothorn have to do. Okay, they have Flash Cannon, that's fine. Oh, Primarina is so bulky. Wow. I don't even think it faints the Flash Cannon and Dazzling Gleam here. Yeah, nice. Great, so that should be the game then. All we needed to do was knock out the Hydreigon. I guess I could have just Flash Cannon last turn rather than Leech Seeding. But I was like, I figured it wouldn't pick up a KO anyway, and in case Primarina went down, then 2 Leech Seeds I was thinking, no, it wouldn't have been enough actually, so I should have just Flash Cannon instead. Yeah, I don't think Leech Seeding last turn was appropriate. The taunt was really nice by my opponent, but we ended up coming out of it okay. So Pharaoh's the last one, and in a position like this, we can always just click Perish Song to guarantee the win. Yeah. Oh, and we have Coalossal too, obviously, so we can Heat Wave. Tauros did end up coming out here though, right? And it actually had value in just having Focus Sash. It bought us a turn. Whereas like Gothitelle would have gotten one shot and Rillaboom. Rillaboom could have survived, but I don't like bringing Rillaboom into this matchup ever when you look at my opponent's team, right? So yeah, let's just Perish Song now. Switch Celesteela out into Coalossal. And then at that point, Celesteela just wins via Perish Song because it's not affected by it. Yeah. I mean, there's, like, this was an endgame. The last game was a perfect example of an endgame where we actually needed Perish Song to win. This one, like, we could have played it out multiple different ways, but Perish Song always is, like, 100% win con when you play it correctly, right? So, yeah, they Leech Seed into Celesteela, but that's fine. Even if we didn't have Perish Song here, though, like, Heat Wave alone just picks up the KO. We just have to be a little bit smarter about how we approach it, because we would want to avoid a crit body press from Ferrothorn into a Coalossal switch in. So we'd basically wait for our opponent to pick up a knockout onto us so that we get the free switch in into Coalossal. Okay. Yeah, I mean, we could play. It doesn't matter how we play this out at this point. I'll just Moonblast Heat Wave. Like, you can't Protect Stall. Yeah, game's over as soon as I click Perish Song. So, yeah, this is the value of this team. I mean, Tauros was really relevant in Game 1, and Primarina was very critical to the end games in Games 3 and 4 here, and just activating that policy in general. So, the main upside here was Max Quaking to KO Entei. As soon as Entei goes down, that was basically game over. So that turn was a little bit risky. Volcalith onto Whimsicott is objectively the safest play there. But the problem is then they set up Tailwind, and you get Hydreigon out next to Entei under Tailwind. Like, I feel like we lose from that position. So that's why I wanted to make sure Whimsicott stays on the field, because if Whimsicott's out on the field, this is kind of what I was going for in Game 2. It means that you only have one thing applying offensive pressure at all times. And in Game 2, for example, it's Raichu Urshifu. Raichu doesn't really do damage. It really comes down to the Urshifu there. But they had U-turn and Volt Switch. So, yeah. Second game was definitely tough. It was certainly winnable still. I don't think I would have really changed the Pokemon that we brought. Well, actually, if I knew that they had U-turn and Volt Switch, I probably would not aggressively play towards Gothitelle. So, like, what would I go? Rillaboom plus Celesteela lead at least could work. Because then Celesteela can also wall a little bit harder. And we could even theoretically max it, although it's not a great max option. So then we could go Rillaboom, Celesteela, Primarina, and Coalossal. Even then, though, the Shadow Sneak into Weakness Policy Metagross is a really big issue. So even if we had brought the perfect 4, it's still tough because like they had Water Scarf Urshifu presumably, and Weakness Policy Metagross and Shadow Sneak, so that was not an easy matchup. Plus they had Lapras, I also had to cover for that option. But they executed really, really well. And like Game 2, the lead looked amazing, but then they like got out of the bad position so well. So that's why like pivoting out into Pokemon, like one turn, one switch is all it takes to turn the momentum from your favor into your opponent's favor. And that's exactly what they did in that second game. So yeah. Anyway, that's going to be it for this one. Really fun set of games. So thanks again to Evan Smoke for the team. Thank you to you all, as always, for watching. If you enjoyed, please share support by leaving a like. Don't forget to answer the question of the day, and I'll catch you all next time. All right, peace.